just Jesus. The way, the truth, the life.
Searching, your love was never far. You made a way to get to me. You were the whisper leading me to your heart. Forever I belong to you. Now I can see clearly, my God, you for me. You won't let go. Your love won't let me down. And I know it's true. Yeah, I know that your love is all around. I believe in you, holding on to you, holding on, and I know you will never fail. I want all of you, you never change. Your love won't let me down. Love won't let me right when I need you, you listen as I pray. You leave the 99 for me. You paint the sky with promises of your grace. So I will find my way to you. Now I can see clearly, my God, you for me. You won't let go. Your love won't let me down. And I know it's true. Yeah, I know that your love is all around. I believe in you, holding on to you. change. Your love won't let me down. Love won't let me. Holding on and I know you will never fail. I want all of you, you'll never change. Your love won't let me down. Love won't let me.
Looking at my life, every low and every high, let me count the ways you've shown up in perfect time. Every minute that you've given, every promise you provide, you won't leave my side. This is who you are, who you are, who you are. Faithful Father, you have shown me. Time and time again, you have been closer than any need that could surround me. I know there's one thing, always true, if it's a good thing. Yeah, that's you. I don't have to explain it, doesn't have to be complicated. Every good thing comes from you. Though my heart may try to look past the place I'm in, help me choose to rest and enjoy your promises. In the struggle, in the pressure, there is blessing in the midst where your presence is. I know there's one thing, always true, if it's a good thing. Yeah, that's you. I don't have to explain it, doesn't have to be complicated. Every good thing comes from you. Yeah.
At our church, Jesus is Lord. That single belief calls us together as a community and sends us into our world with hope and purpose. At our church, your past will never define your future. There's always redemption, which means there's always a brighter day. At our church, we don't think we're better than any other church out there. We're just doing our best to become our best. At our church, we want you to believe in God, but we also want you to know that God believes in you. We are not against people who don't attend church anywhere. Instead, we pursue them with love, the very same love that's pursuing us. At our church, we're learning to serve God with all our hearts, and we're learning to worship Him with all our lives. And if you're looking for the perfect church, we're not it. At our church, we will make mistakes, but we will choose to grow from them. At our church, we're part of a global community that's knit together by the resurrection of Jesus. And by the way, at our church, we believe that really happened too. At our church, we will engage with people who are in real need because we are the hands and the feet of Christ. And finally, we need you to hear this loud and clear. At our church, it's not really our church at all, it's His. And we live and move and breathe in His church for His glory and His fame, not ours. So here's the invitation. You're invited to jump in with your whole heart at your own pace and to experience the life that awaits you in Christ. Friends, this is going to be good. Welcome to our church.
Good morning, Connect Church. We are so glad you're here today. What a beautiful morning to worship the Lord. Please stand with us and help us sing this out. There's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence, Lord. I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, where my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. Your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. There's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence, Lord. I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, where my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. Your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness. Holy Spirit, how welcome. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for. To be overcome by your presence, Lord.
Good morning, Connections. Go ahead and take a seat. Thank you so much, ladies. What a great, great start to this beautiful morning. My name is Lindsay. I'm one of the pastors on staff here.
And I'm Tracy, and I'm also one of the pastors here on staff.
Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning.
And good morning, especially to our guests that are joining us online this morning. We're thrilled that you've chosen to join us, as well as those of you that are here in this room this morning. So welcome. Now, in just a few short weeks, one of the most exciting things to happen around here in a long time. On May 2nd, we will be reopening our children's ministry.
Yes, we are so excited. We have the volunteers stashed for you.
Yep.
So limited spots are available. So we're going to let you know how you can register. So you guys are getting the first scoop on how to do it. So get your phones out right now.
Yeah, so like Tracy said, we made the announcement a couple weeks ago. We've been talking about this for a couple weeks. We had hoped to open up in April, and we just didn't have the volunteers. And thank the Lord, people stepped forward. So thank you to those of you who said, you know what, I'm going to fill the gap right now. I'm going to be a short-term volunteer, or maybe some of you decided you're going to jump in and be long-term volunteers. So we're truly, truly thankful. We could still use a couple more. So if God is stirring in your heart this morning and you think that maybe volunteering in kids ministry is something you'd be interested in, come talk to anyone on staff. Tracy would probably be your best bet, but any of us can help you out and get your info and get you plugged in there. So that's certainly still an option. So because we are remaining socially distant with the kids, and we do still have somewhat limited volunteers, and just the complications of sanitizing between services, we've chosen to start by just having children's ministry available during our 10:30 service, and the spots will be limited. So 1 week prior, we will have reservations that open up. This is where you can get out your phones. On our mobile app under events, it will pop up as a registration for the children's ministry classes. There's 3 different classrooms for our 3 age levels that will be listed on there. So that's how you're going to sign up. We'll also put a link in our weekly email. If you are not getting emails from us, we send out a weekly email. Please see myself or anyone else on staff, and we can take down your information and make sure that you begin receiving those, because they're full of lots of information there. So also important too, if you make a reservation and you are unable to keep your reservation, we ask that you open those spots back up to another family, and you can do that. You'll get an email confirmation saying that you registered your kids, so it'll have a link on it that if you do need to cancel, you can go in and cancel that as well.
Yes, of course. And we want to make sure that all the kids and our volunteers and your family after the service is going to be safe. So if you have any questions on our protocols that we have going on, they are listed on the back wall here, so you can see those at any time. Also, when you register your family or in the process of registering your family for our Children's Ministries program, you also get emailed the link that says all the protocols per rooms, since some of the rooms are a little bit different. But what you will want to know is you do want to come early to the service, because we will have those 6 feet apart grids that you'll be standing on so that your family can have a socially distanced experience when your check-in process is going to be done. The tags will be printed ahead of time, so it should go pretty fast, but you still have those greeters there to help you out throughout the process, to make you feel safe, answer any questions that you have, and also to greet your family, because we're so excited to have you guys back. All of our cubbies will be on the outside, so you'll also reserve a cubby spot if you want that for your family, so that you can kind of do it on your own time, putting your stuff away. And then also we have extra staffed volunteers in each of the classrooms so that the volunteers can go out into your personal cubby with gloves on if needed. That way not all the kiddos are grabbing at the cubbies the entire time, or the bags for their special toys or bottles or wipes and diapers and all that stuff, because all personal items do need to stay out of the classrooms. And then all of our volunteers too, in our CK2 and CK3 rooms, since they're a little bit older, have optional aprons to wear, but for our infant stages, each kiddo is going to have their very own apron, and then they're only going to get assigned a few different volunteers. So when they're cuddling with that special volunteer, they're cuddling on that apron so that their spit up is not going to be transferred to somebody else's kids' spit up and all that. All of our volunteers will be wearing masks and gloves the entire time as well. And then in our CK3 room, which is our elementary, the 1st through 5th, they will also be wearing masks. Those kids will be, which most of them have already had that experience in their own classrooms already. But for our CK1, CK2 rooms, they will not have to wear masks. They can if they want to, and if your family has that. But like I said, any questions that you have inside the classrooms, go ahead and speak to us. I'm going to be available before and after, so we already skipped the before, but after the service, before second service, you can go ahead and start already looking through the classrooms. What's really cool, which you won't see yet because we're taping them this afternoon, is that each kid's also going to have their own little grid box that they get to play in, and then they'll also be invited to come out of. Inside the classrooms, they're also going to have individually packaged snacks and their own little box that's all full of their goodies of what they're going to be experiencing throughout the weeks. So it's going to be a ton of fun experiences. We've added a ton of activities that way that they are going to be so active that they're going to be taking naps on their way home.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tracy. She's put truly so much work into this, and we're truly thankful for your efforts and what you're doing to keep our kids safe. Again, the safety protocols are posted in our lobby if you'd like to read those, and like Tracy said, she's available for kids' classroom tours afterwards. We love our kids here, and because we love them so much and their classrooms aren't set up yet, we love having them be a part of our morning service. So we've got a little video for our kids today. Thanks.
Yes. Oh, and one last thing, too. I forgot to say,
you only get one.
I'm just so excited.
You have 36 seconds.
So excited. Okay, so also, if you cannot meet me after this today's service, you can also meet me Saturday 10 to 1. We will be here, so you can also tour the classrooms at that time. Any volunteers or kids, families that want to see it. Bye. 20 seconds left. We're good.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Jacob. And today, you're gonna help me solve a mystery. The case of the mysterious envelope. Dun, dun, dun! What do you think it is? Is it a thank you gift? A prank? A peace offering? Actually, peace is what we're talking about today. Peace is proving you care more about each other than winning an argument. But that doesn't get me any closer to finding out what's inside this package. I feel like I should be wearing gloves for this. Yeah. Monkey bridge? What's a monkey bridge? A few twigs and some string, but no instructions. Another mystery. Dun dun dun! I mean, clearly this is a bridge building kit. Well, maybe the sticks are the decking? But how do I... Maybe I'm supposed to weave it together. This doesn't make any sense. I gotta get creative. I gotta think outside the box to find a solution. Actually, that's exactly what someone in today's story did. Now, how do you build a monkey bridge?
Well, please stand with us as we continue this time of worship.
Vows and covenant unbroken. You've made it known through history. Your love will never be unfaithful. Never walk out on me. Never walk out on me. to me when it's too dark to see you. When I am sure I have reached the end. Hold on to me when I forget I need you. When I let go, hold me again. When I don't feel like worth defending. When I'm tired of not pretending. Hold on to me. When I start to break in desperation. Underneath the weight of expectation, hold on to me. Hold on to me. Hold on to me when it's too dark to see. When I am sure I have reached the end. Hold on to me when I forget I need you. When I let go, hold me again. I could rest here in your arms forever. 'Cause nobody loves me better. Hold on to me. Hold on to me.
I don't even have any good skills.
What do you mean?
You know, like nunchuck skills, bow hunting skills, computer hacking skills. Girls only want boyfriends who have great skills.
Good morning. How is everyone this morning? I hope you're doing great. I am delighted that you're here. You've made us a part on your morning. And if you're joining us online, thank you so much for coming and being a part of our experience this morning. Now, under normal circumstances, I usually try to buy the generic product, right? If I can get the same quality for less money, I'm good to do it. But sometimes I just want the real thing. And what is so irritating about companies that make knockoff products but try to persuade you that you're buying the real thing. Like for instance, if you spend a couple $1,000s on a new iPhone, and when you look at the back, this is what you see, you probably don't have the real thing. If you went into a store just to grab some toothpaste, and you thought you would grab, a really well-respected brand, but when you get home, you found you bought Crust toothpaste, you don't have the real thing. Imagine you're strolling down a city street and you're just kind of hungry, and you're thinking, I would love some Kentucky Fried Chicken. So you wander into this store, KFG? You're probably not in the real thing. I actually spent some time thinking, okay, if KFC stands for Kentucky Fried Chicken, what does KFG stand for? I couldn't think of one animal that started with a G that I really wanted to eat. giraffe, gerbil, gecko. I mean, they all sounded kind of bad to me. Or how about if you just want a salty snack and you pop open a can and you realize it's not Pringles, it's Prongles. I wonder how those taste. And I love the little slogan that they have. With Pringles, it's once you pop, you can't stop. But if you look on the top of that can, it's once you pop, that's great. Talk about weird. And then, there's this product right here. Because we all have probably heard of, I can't believe it's not butter. But here the knockoff is simply called unbelievable, this isn't butter. That kind of freaks me out a little bit about that project. And some knockoffs, they're subtle, but they don't really try that hard. Like if you buy an expensive jacket from the North Face, but you look more carefully at the label and you see it's the North Fake, you just don't have the real thing. I mean, it's irritating when you think you're grabbing something real that you want, but you actually get something fake. But sometimes when fakes are really good, then it gets really irritating because it costs you something substantial. A couple of years ago, I happened in the market for a pair of sunglasses. I needed to replace a pair for someone else of some Oakley sunglasses. Now, I don't know if you know this, but those are not cheap. They're a couple $100 a pair. So I'm doing some internet research because I'm trying to find the best deal, and I come across this pair of Oakley sunglasses that were only $99. I snagged them, only to find out later they weren't really Oakleys. They were a very good knockoff that I found later on the internet for $14.99. We hate it when we get fooled by something that's fake. And do you know what hurts the most when we get fooled into buying into something that's fake? It's not when it's a product. It's when it's a person. And we get sucked into a relationship only to find out they're not who they pretended to be. They're not real. We're in a series here at Connections called People Skills. And we're being reminded of one simple but profound reality, and that is the quality of our lives is more determined by the quality of our relationships than any other factor. Think about that. The quality of our lives is more dependent upon the quality of our relationships than any other factor. And every single one of us, no matter who we are, no matter where we've been, no matter what we've done, no matter what our personality is like, we can attract and develop and keep and enjoy quality relationships if we've developed the right people skills. So what we're doing here at Connections is taking a crash course on the basic people skills. We began the series 2 weeks ago, and there we talked about the skill of strategic availability. That is the capacity to spend the right amount of time with the right people. Last week, Trevor spoke, and he talked about the skill of good conversation. And we learned the key there is to be more interested in the other person than you are about being interesting on your own. And today we want to talk about the skill of being real. I want to talk about authenticity, what it is and how important it is in human relationships. But here's an observation I've made. There are some skewed views of authenticity that seem to have trenched themselves in certain pockets of American culture. And I want to make sure you understand that I don't mean a couple of things when I talk about authenticity. First, I don't mean that we should use authenticity as an excuse for our flaws and our failures. You see, I hear some people, and when a failure or a flaw surfaces, they go, well, that's just who I am, all right? I'm not making excuses of it. I just gotta be me. Hey, listen, if something about who we really are is out of sync with what God really wants, we shouldn't flaunt it, we should change it. Authenticity does not mean being just fine with everything we are. Secondly, I want us to understand that authenticity should never be used as an excuse for being harsh or judgmental. I hear some people who share their opinion or their view of what is true, but they do it in this condescending, harsh, antagonistic kind of way, and they go, just being real, just being authentic. Listen, we are supposed to speak the truth in love. We should share our opinions and perspectives graciously and humbly, not antagonistically. So when we're talking about authenticity, it's not an excuse for our flaws and failures. It's not an excuse for being harsh and judgmental in what we say. So what is authenticity? As a concept presented by Jesus, what does it even mean? Here's what's fascinating. In the teachings of Jesus, he used two words to convey the idea of authenticity. Now, these two words are usually translated sincere. And if you look up a dictionary as to the meaning of the word sincere, it means to be without deceit, to be real or genuine. You know what we would say today? It's authentic. And what I find fascinating about these two words is they're both word pictures. And when we understand the word pictures that Jesus used to convey the idea of authenticity, the concept just comes alive in our minds. The first word that Jesus used is a word that literally means take off the mask. Take off the mask. It comes from the world of theater in Jesus' day, where actors and actresses would play multiple roles. And to distinguish the characters, they would have a mask for each role they would play. And when they would play one character, they would don one mask. And if they were going to play another character, they would don a different mask. And the masks represented the different roles that the actor or actress would play, the different image that they would project to other people. And what Jesus is saying is if we want to be authentic, we've got to take off the mask. I define it this way. Being authentic means that you don't pretend to be something you're not. You don't pretend to be something you're not. Don't pretend to be more spiritual than you are. Don't pretend to be more knowledgeable than you are. Don't pretend to be more gifted than you are. Don't pretend to be more experienced than you are. Just don't pretend to be anything. Because when we do that, we're role-playing. We're projecting an image. We're wearing a mask. Do you know that there were skilled mask wearers in Jesus' day? They were the Pharisees, a very prominent religious sect. And Jesus was always getting on the Pharisees because they were mask wearers. By the way, do you know what the word for mask wearing is in the New Testament? The word is hypocrite. It literally means to wear the mask. Here's how Jesus felt about that. Let's look at the book of Matthew, 3 verses. The first one, verse 2 says, Jesus says, "So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets as the mask wearers do in the synagogue and on the streets to be honored by others." In other words, they wanted to play a role that made it look like they were more generous than they really were. Jesus goes on. He then says, "And when you pray, do not be like the mask wearers, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others." In other words, they wanted other people to believe they prayed more and prayed better than they actually did. Jesus hits them a third time. He says, "And when you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, the mask wearers." They would literally take ash from fires and smeared on their faces to look sullen and sick and gray. And they will walk around with long faces. It says they disfigure their faces to show others their fasting. They wanted others to believe they fasted more, fasted better, and really cared so much about the work of God that they were broken in heart. None of it was true. Jesus doesn't like mask wearing. He doesn't like it when we pretend to be something different or something more than we actually are. He says, I just want you to be real. Take the mask off. Do you know why we wear a mask? We wear a mask to gain the approval of others, the applause of others, to gain more influence or standing than we rightfully deserve. You know, in a really funky way, mask wearing is a form of identity theft. We know what identity theft is, right? It's when someone assumes someone else's identity to gain access to their stuff so they can enjoy it on their own. They want to use and enjoy what's not rightfully theirs. Whenever we wear a mask, whenever we present an image, whenever we pretend to be something that we're not, we do it so we can get from others things that are not rightfully ours. The first word that Jesus uses to convey the idea of being authentic, being real, is to take off the mask. Stop pretending like you're someone other than what you are or that you're more than what you are. Now, there's a second word Jesus used. And the interesting of that word is that it basically means come out from hiding. I love the etymology of this word because it literally means unfolded. You see, in ancient days when you would go to a market and you would be wanting to buy some cloth, you would look that cloth over to make sure that it was, good and it was dyed properly and there was no flaws or defects in it. But some of the merchants were very skilled, and when they would lay out their cloth, they would fold it in certain ways so that defects would not be seen. And just by folding it, it can go, this is a great piece of cloth. And it got people to buy things that weren't as good as they thought. And this is the word that Jesus is using. He's saying, I want your life to be unfolded. I don't want anything about you to be hidden or covered up. Here's the meaning, I would say it this way, and that is being authentic means not hiding parts of you, of who you really are. We all have a tendency to hide parts of who we are, don't we? And do you know why we hide them? Because we're ashamed of them. We're afraid that if other people see parts of who we are, they'll think less of us. They might condemn us, and they might confirm the shame we feel about this thing being a part of what our lives really are. This is an ancient practice. It goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden right after the fall. Remember, Adam and Eve ate the one fruit they weren't supposed to eat. And it says their eyes were open and they realized and were ashamed that they were naked. And what did they do? They found fig leaves to cover themselves up. Understand that God is conveying in physical terms a psychological or spiritual dynamic. When we feel exposed and we feel vulnerable, in order to protect ourselves from being condemned by others, we hide parts of us that are different from others, or at least that we think are different from others. And we still use metaphorical fig leaves today. We want to cover up the parts of us that we don't think are attractive, the parts of us that we think are shameful, the parts of us that we know if other people understand, they'll condemn us, they'll reject us, they'll confirm our feelings of shame. When Jesus speaks of authenticity, he speaks of dropping the mask and not hiding anything. Hey, interesting observation. As I was pondering this in the last couple of weeks, I came to this conclusion. We wear different masks and cover up different parts of ourselves depending on what crowd we're around. So consequently, when we're in church, well, in church, we wear this mask. And we're going to cover up these things in our lives. But then when we go to work on Monday, you know what? We're going to put a different mask on. And we're going to cover up a different part of our lives. And we tend to wear different masks and cover up different parts of our life, depending on the group of people that we are around. And when we do that, we are being the opposite of authentic. We're being duplicitous. Rather than one real self, we're multiple selves projected to different groups of people trying to get the approval of each. I think we're ready now for a big, overall, heavy-duty definition of what authenticity is. And here's how I understand the concept. Authenticity means presenting your one real self to others without pride and without pretense. This is who I am. Good, bad, beautiful, ugly, messed up, made right. This is just who I am. No pride in it. No pretense, no deceit in it. This is the one real me. Now, let's be honest with each other. That sounds frightening, doesn't it? That sounds frightening. Because doing that means we're vulnerable. Doing that means, oh my goodness, we might encounter opposition, judgment, condemnation, rejection. That's risked whenever we decide to present our one true self to other people. So that got me to wondering, why is it that Jesus made a big deal about being authentic? Why would Jesus, the one who knows everything, the one who loves you and me so infinitely, the one who wants us to enjoy unbelievably, incredibly healthy and life-giving relationships, why would he say, you've got to be authentic? And in searching the scriptures, I'm sure there's a number more, but there are several really powerful reasons why authenticity is necessary for enjoying quality relationships. I share them with you in an effort that you, like I, might be more motivated to be our one true self with everyone else with no pretense or pride. Here's the first reason I think it's so important. It's because authenticity makes closeness achievable. See, in order to grow close to someone, real needs to contact real. In order to grow close to someone, we have to be known for who we really are, while we know someone else for who they really are. And apart from authenticity, real can't contact real. Apart from authenticity, we can't know and be known. It's impossible. One of my favorite Jim Carrey movies, actually just one of my favorite movies, is The Truman Show. Who's seen The Truman Show? Okay, yep. The rest of you need to go home as a homework assignment. Watch The Truman Show. A powerful movie. Here's the gist of it. Truman Burbank, he's the star of the show. It's a television show, only he doesn't know he's in a television show. He is an elaborately constructed hoax where the world he lives in and everybody in it are actors. And the only person who doesn't know what's going on is Truman. And over the course of the show, or movie, over several random events, he begins to realize what's going on. That everyone around him are actors. And he begins to realize he has no real relationship with anyone. Even the one he thinks is his mom isn't his mom, it's an actress. The person he's married to, he doesn't have a real relationship. She's an actress. And when he realized the horror of being in a world where nothing is real and no one is real and he has no relationships, he becomes willing to risk his life to find out what is real and who is real. And it's fascinating. He goes on pursuit of the one and only person who was in this world he lived in, who was real with him. And those moments of reality attracted him so much that he spent all his time trying to find her. There's so many lessons in this movie, but one of them is this: you can't have a relationship with people that aren't real. If they're wearing a mask, if they're covering up, closeness is an impossibility. So if you want to go close to the person you're married to, you want to go close to your kids, you want to go closer to your really good friends, your small group, you know what you need to do? We need to take off the mask and we need to stop hiding. It's the only way closeness is achievable. A second reason why authenticity is so critical to making relationships work, I would say it this way. It's because authenticity makes relationships sustainable. Look, projecting an image, wearing a mask, keeping things covered is exhausting. We get so tired of trying to pretend we're somebody we're not. And eventually we begin to wear down and wear out, and cracks begin to show. And then we usually begin to withdraw, and sometimes we self-medicate, doing things to try to make us feel better, to escape into something else that isn't real, while we're not being real. It's exhausting. And eventually the cracks open up and we are exposed for who we are. And the relationship either takes a significant hit or it collapses altogether. Do you remember a very famous little story that Jesus told about two builders? And one built a really, really good house on rock, and one built a really, really good house on sand. And then the storms and everything came, and the one on the rock stood, and the one on the sand collapsed. Jesus is making one fundamental point, and the point is simply this: you build your life on the truth, because that's the only way to build a life that lasts, that is sustainable, and that holds up for all eternity. Now, when he said these words in Matthew chapter 7, where he said, therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like the man who built his house on a rock. He was saying, you're going to build your life, you need to build your life on the truth, and I am the truth. A subset of that, a parallel to that is simply this: if you want to build a relationship, you got to build a relationship on the truth. You got to build it being real. Because if you build it by projecting images, wearing masks, and hiding things, trust me, when the storms come, and they will, this relationship will fall apart. So if we want to have sustainable relationships, we need to drop the mask and stop covering off. Third reason why I think it's so critical that we practice authenticity is because authenticity makes growth possible. Okay, now brace yourself for this reality. God intends relationships to be enjoyable, but it's not their primary purpose. It's actually a result of their primary purpose. Did you know that the primary purpose of human relationships is for the betterment of the people in them? It's through relationships that we change and grow and become more fully the people we were designed by God to be, living a more functional, influential, powerful, sustainable life. But growth in relationship is impossible apart from authenticity. We're not going to grow in areas we need to grow, change in areas where we need to change, if we're wearing a mask or covering it up so that the people in our relationships don't know. It is not. Could you imagine going to a doctor, let's just say for your annual checkup, and the doctor's, asking routine questions and checking, your pulse and your blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. And he goes, anything else? And you actually had been experiencing some severe migraine headaches for about the last month. Could you imagine going, I don't think I'm going to share that. If I share that, the doctor might think there's something wrong with me. So I'm just going to keep that hidden. That's like crazy. We share that with the doctor because we need the doctor to know, so the doctor can help figure out what is wrong and how to fix it. We do something similar in our relationships, especially our close relationships in life. There are things that we struggle with that are problems, but we don't want to share. And because we don't share and we struggle on our own, they never get fixed. Do you know why most of us struggle with the same things month after year after decade? It's because we're struggling on our own and we're not taking off the mask and we're not coming off from hiding and we're not sharing with other people. This is what I'm dealing with. It's only in the sharing the healing begins. Yeah, consider James chapter 5 and verse 16. It says, look, therefore confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so you may be healed. Spiritual, relational, character, functional healing only comes by sharing and praying and sharing and praying. And in that environment, we can take the steps necessary to actually change. So if understanding the scriptures, right, the teachings of Jesus, here in a nutshell is why it is we have got to take the risk of authenticity. Because authenticity makes closeness achievable, it makes relationships sustainable, and it makes growth possible. So if any of us want a quality relationship with anybody, and we want that relationship to last and not fall apart, and we want to grow and be healthy and be the people we know in our heart of hearts we can and should be, we got to be authentic. We got to be real. So here's our action steps for the day. They could not be simpler. First action step is this: drop the mask. Stop pretending you're something other than you are or something more than you are. Stop pretending. Stop pretending when you're at church. Stop pretending when you're in small group. Stop pretending when you're at home with your spouse and your kids. Stop pretending when you're at work. Stop pretending when you're with your friends. Stop pretending. Drop the mask. Don't hide. One real self without pretense or pride. Second action step, come out from hiding. Unfold the garment of your life. And in those appropriate relationships, meaning usually those you're closer to, share the things that you're dealing with, your struggles, the questions, the issues. Because it's the only way they ever get fixed. Jesus yearns for us to have this rich and full and complete and powerful life that means something and matters for all time and eternity. But for that to happen, it's going to be realized within the context of relationships. And for relationships to work, we got to be real. And the skill of being real will transform our relationships, our lives, and our destiny. Father, thank you for the opportunities of this morning. Thank you that Jesus laid it out for us and calls us to present our one real self to others. No pretense, no pride. I'm asking that you would help us by the power and gracious work of your Spirit to convince us inside that we need to obey what Jesus says and risk authenticity that we might reap the blessings that it and it alone can give. We ask these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. Hey, I'm so grateful you're here this morning. I'm going to be floating around the lobby afterwards. I would love the opportunity to interact with you. If you've got a question or you just want to chat, all right? If not, I hope you have a fantastic week, and we look forward to seeing you next Sunday when our children's ministry reopens. All right, God bless you. You are dismissed.
Long before you opened up my eyes, long before my mother heard my cry, you were holding me inside your hand. Oh, before time began. Oh, I was part of your plan. God, you have my heart. You love me from the start. And I know you're for me, you're not against me. You never let me go. God, you have my heart. Oh, your love is burning deep inside my soul. What was broken now can be made whole. Change me, rearrange me, take control. Oh, I'm letting go. God, you have my heart. You love me from the start. And I know you're for me, you're not against me. You never let me go. God, you have my heart. In the valley, you were by my side every season, every lonely night. When my faith feels weak and I'm on my knees, I remember that you're here, you were holding me. In the valley, you were by my side every season, every lonely night. When my faith feels weak and I'm on my knees, God, you have my heart. You love me from the start. And I know you're for me, you're not against me. You never let me go. God, you have my heart. I caught your fire, you gave your life for me. I want the world to see, I want the world to see. You lifted higher when I was on my knees. You came and rescued me, you came and rescued me. 'Cause when I